I just came across this post and it hit. Now on IG, it's like several slides long, but this particular slide stood out to me because it highlighted how my account model applies to any circumstance across the board, whether it's CEOs in the boardroom, whether it's juveniles in a diversion program, whether it's a community program, whether it's trying to reconcile with your significant other. Certain principles just apply across the board. This one happened to be about Jay and Beyonce, how they got back together. She didn't want the conventional norms of them hooking back up. You know, she cried, he apologized, he buy gifts, they go on trips, they go to counseling and, start finding their way back to each other. She first told him, like, look, I need you to write me a letter explaining to me why it is you did what you did. Or so the post says. And he did that. Now, the first few letters, apparently from the post, she rejected. But it was this final letter that changed everything. Now, in my account model, the A is acknowledge. He traced what he did back to childhood abandonment. This is acknowledgement without excuse. Not denying harm, not minimizing betrayal, just naming the real root. In my model, acknowledge equals facing internal truth, not just external behavior. And that's why this post hit, because that's what it did first. Choices. He didn't blame temptation. He didn't blame fame. That's a rejection of externalizing responsibility. In account terms, temptation doesn't equal cause. Fame don't equal cause. Marriage don't equal cause. The choice is internal, even if the pressure was external. Textbook choice. Consequences. Betrayal wasn't desire. But here's the accountability pivot that most will just skip over. He wasn't saying it didn't hurt her or, being dismissive in that way. What he said was the damage still exists, even if the motive was protection. And that's understanding consequence without self-deception. Ownership. No blame in the marriage. He didn't blame the moment. Ownership shows up in what he didn't do. He didn't deflect. He didn't play victim. He didn't try to rationalize it. In my language, ownership, it equals shit. I did this. Even if I don't fully understand why I did it at the time that I did it. That's grown man accountability. Understanding. An inability to tolerate emotional closeness without sabotage. That's understanding, not excuse. It's like in my model, I make that distinction clear. Understanding explains behavior, but it don't erase responsibility. And this post, it landed right there. Then you got the end. Next steps. Now, while this post doesn't spell out what the next steps were, what it did was it implied that if root is abandonment, then the work is emotional regulation, attachment repairment, therapy, learning how to stay present without running. Insight demands action. That's what the next steps are, is the action. And lastly, you got transformation. The final letter changed everything. Hell, that line alone could be an account model quote. But transformation doesn't come from shame, exposure, or punishment. It came from owning the full story, then rewriting the pattern. The T in the account model. See, this post resonates with my work so strongly because it showed that what I've been teaching, accountability, it isn't about blame. It's about power. In this post, it moves from behavior to root, from reaction to responsibility, from shame to self-awareness. Hell, that's accountability in motion, not theory.